Hello, welcome back. And taking off from where we once, where we left off. I was speaking about running out of battery. Not literal battery for us, but speaking of running out of energy on this path, and the spirit is definitely getting the messages across tonight. They cut my battery off on my phone, so yeah, you do run out of energy on this path. You hit that wall, after you've done all this, and you've Kundalini. Each individuals, are individual. My path was Kundalini. My path was, spiritual awakening, Kundalini, dark night of the souls. It's energetically exhausted. It's emotional, physical, mental, spiritual exhaustion, so yeah, you do run out of fuel, you do run out of power. Like my phone's just ran out of power, and spirit really wanted to get that message across, didn't they? But yeah, you do. It's real. Energetically being exhausted is real, it's more real than actual, feeling tired. When you're energetically tired, it can take you down, a long time. Like I was speaking, 6 months. I stopped my candle business. 6 months. I knew I stopped doing my Reiki healing because I knew I needed that integration period. I needed that time out for all the energetic work I'd done prior to it, to all the healing I'd done prior to this, coming up to this 6 months break that I had to take for myself. And then I started to get my energy back. I started to feel a bit more again like myself. I started to physically move my body and get back into work. Spirit was saying it was time, and I also knew I was going to start an online channel, and that was the integration period. I had to have that time out to go into this channel, because this is energetically when you're working with energy, and this is what this path is, energy. We're all energy. That's all we are, really, energy. Yeah, you get exhausted. So you have to have periods of time to integrate all that work that you've done, and then you start up again. But yeah, one more card. Woo. From the Mary Magdalene, and that's going to be the end of this reading. Yeah, it's not an easy path, as you probably heard me say on my other videos. Far from easy, but it's also such a worthwhile path. And I can say that now because I'm the alchemist. I've alchemized all my pain into love, unconditional love, the ultimate goal. I've alchemized that in self, yes, but then I've also alchemized it for this connection, and I've become this lady in red, this boss woman, this independent, divine feminine, financially independent and spiritually independent. Yeah, and you do become all of that, and yeah, you realise that that heaven and earth. Yeah, it you can have that for yourself. You can bridge that, for yourself. And you hold that heaven and earth inside of you. It just needs to be alchemized, to find that heaven and earth. But we all hold it inside of us. And this card came out. So, he or she that revels in outshining the power of God is he or she whom has turned against thy own self. For thy power of God is within you, as the power of God is of you and outside of you. thou that seeks to create themselves as the only God, seeks from thy head in power, not from the power of love of thy sacred heart. That is a beautiful message. So, talking about the ego, you know, the ego could take over when you start gaining, you know, these very, very powerful spiritual gifts back to self. But if you've done the work and you've balanced the ego out, you know that everything comes from the heart. And I speak about that so much on my channel, because everything is in this, of the sacred heart, you know, and it's not about having that power over someone else, and it's not about having, you know, divine spiritual gifts better than other, you know, other people. It's not about that. It's about knowing your own spiritual gifts and knowing what these spiritual gifts are to you, you know, and the value to others also, you know, and yeah, and not letting the power go to your head. And at this point you won't, and I certainly don't, because yes, I know I've got very, very powerful spiritual gifts. I know that because of all the transformation, all that dark night that I had to go into. I know that. I know I'm an alchemist, you know. I know my path. I know I'm a twin flame, so I know that alchemical marriage was the divine feminine and divine masculine energies balancing out in self, then to balance out in this connection. So the chances of me and the power going to my head and, you know, using my spiritual gifts for power, and yeah, it's not going to happen at this stage. It's impossible. I'm too balanced. I've balanced those energies out, you know, and you know that everything is inside of you already. You know, that kingdom of God is within us already. So you don't look outside of you. I stopped looking outside of myself a long, long time ago. I stopped looking for validation. I stopped hoping not to get judged a long, long time ago. At this point, you've done that much healing. And you've come in, yes, you have come into your power, and that's not an ego thing, but you've just come into the knowing of, you know, who you really are on this spiritual path. But yeah, at this point, it says here, the only God seeks, thou that seeks to create themselves as the only God, seeks from thy head in power, not from the power of love of thy sacred heart. No, at this point, there's no ego. There's that ego's balanced, you know. You have got ego, but it's balanced. At this point, you're very, very aware that everything comes from the heart. Hence why I speak, everything comes from the heart. Because at this point, you've done that work, you've done that healing, you've balanced out, you know, your two energies. And balancing out those two energies is the whole point of this path. And alchemizing the ego and, you know, and balancing out those two energies, then that brings you to, you know, knowing thyself fully. And yeah, it brings you back to your heart. You find your sacred heart again, fully. And you know that this path that you're on, this twin flame mission that you're on, you know, it's been a journey, you know, back to your heart, back to your sacred heart, finding that God within self. That's always been there, you know, but you just had to go on this long, long journey of healing and transformation and alchemizing and balancing, to, you know, to finally, yeah, to come to that, to knowing that everything was already inside of you, and you don't need to search outside of you, you know, for what you already hold inside. You just had to heal, alchemize, And then, yeah, the Sacred Heart comes back to you, that knowing, you know, of love of the Sacred Heart. And that's what this path's about. It's about showing people, you know, unconditional love really does exist. You know, that frequency of unconditional love is so real, and it can move mountains, and it can change people's lives, and it can change the world. And that's not being grandiose or, you know, in my head with power. No, that's speaking from my heart. That's because I've done this journey. I know what this true journey is really all about now. And it was taking me back to, you know, my Sacred Heart and finding the divine in me. Then to, you know, balance this connection out, the divine in this connection. And it is a divine connection. It always has been. It just needed to, you know, balance out those two energies. And that is the ultimate, you know, you want to balance those two energies out. That's the union. That's the union in self and in this, the unity in this connection. And that's the road back to your heart. The thorns and the rose path is, yeah, it's this journey back to your heart and love, unconditional love. And that is it. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, you do run out of batteries, you do run out of power on this journey, but you also find it inside yourself. You dig deep each time. You get tucked to your knees when you do on this journey. I'm not gonna lie. It breaks you to break you open. It's a journey about that, to open, you know, that light up that you've got inside yourself. But you find that strength. You've got that strength inside you. And yeah, you keep finding more power, you know, keep finding more, keep recharging. I'm saying, keep recharging. Yeah, and then you come back even stronger after each recharge. You get so strong on this path. Once you go through a dark night of the soul, or more dark nights of the soul, some people have more than one. You're unbreakable, and that's not an ego thing, because your ego is balanced at this point. You just know that you're unbreakable because you've been to hell and back. You've walked through that fire. You are the phoenix rising. My last video that I did, the phoenix rising from the ashes. That's your dark night. You're going into that. You come out totally transformed, changed forever, balanced, phoenix rising from the ashes. Yeah, it's that death and rebirth. You've had a complete death and rebirth. Yeah, that is pretty powerful, you know. I know it is. I'm on this path. I've walked through it. But yeah, nothing knocks you down once you get to that. Once you get to this stage, yeah, nothing really phases you. No, nothing does phase you. Comments that I can get, I just delete, and I'm like, okay, next one, because I know I'm helping the people that it needs to help. It will reach the people that it's meant to reach. And yeah, it's worth one comment or another comment. You know, it's worth all of that. You know, I've been through worse. Let's put it that way. Once you get to this point, that's what this path's about. It's building you up that strong, that the naysayers and the ones that, you know, are going to have the comments about, you know, your channel, you're always going to come across that. You're always going to come across people that judge, people that don't understand. That's fine. I don't judge them. That's completely up to them. But that's what this path is. It forges you to steel. So it's setting you up for you know, your mission, your end game, basically. I'm on my mission now. I've also just had a lot of downloads about, you know, something that's been coming in for me for a few years now. And I've been, not, I won't say dismissing it, but I've not been ready. But it's just come back again in 2 readings these last few days. So, yeah, that's going to be my next. See, Spirit never, ever, you don't get a break on this path. You know, you might get some time to relax, bits here and there when you go into your integration. That is your recharging, you know. Yeah, you have to have that. But no, you've got an important mission. That's what we're here for. And as grand as that sounds, that's ultimately what it is. I used to question it. A mission? What do you mean a mission? What have I got a mission for? I'm just little old Ellie, you know, from, yeah, you know. No, no, don't underestimate yourself. Spirit's saying, don't you know, I used to, no, this journey is very, very real, you know, and you go through all of that because it is a bigger calling, you know, it's a bigger purpose, soul purpose. But yeah, you're that phoenix rising, and no matter what people comment, no matter what you get thrown at you, it don't matter. It don't matter. It does not matter. You've been through the fire. You've walked through the, you know, you've walked through hell, and you've come out blazing. You know, yeah, you've got your wings. You know, you've got those phoenix wings. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, and I hope that the people that need to hear this message, it reaches. I know it will do, because that's what this channel's about. It will reach who it's meant to. I'm going to say goodnight, and I'm going to go watch a film. And yeah, hopefully Spirit won't download any more messages tonight, because I am a bit exhausted, I'm not going to lie. I was up at early hours last night, and I was watching Mary Magdalene, because obviously if you follow me, you'll know that I'm on the Rose path, Mary Magdalene path. And so it was getting messages across to watch the film Mary Magdalene. So yeah, I did. But at 1:44, the time on my clock, the downloads came in to go online and speak about this film that I'm watching, and you know, ask people if they're seeing 144, and you know, are they getting roses, and you know, signs of synchronicity about roses, because that's how it started for me. I just kept getting the rose. And then yeah, a few years down the line, I'm on the rose path. So you know, Spirit gets these signs across to us in peculiar ways, through people, through I get signs in other readings coming through to me. In fact, these 2 signs these last few days have been both readings that I follow readers myself. Although I'm a reader, I still follow other readers that I've followed for years, because they've been my guiding light, you know, on my path. But yeah, I'm a reader myself, but I still don't have that ego about myself and think, oh, I can always read for myself. No. You're not, you know, you're all connected. Every one of us are connected. I find the readers that I'm meant to find because they've got messages in from me, from Spirit, and vice versa, you know. People are meant to find me because I've got messages for them from Spirit. We're all connected. We are all one, you know. We are one, they're saying. So yeah, there's no separation. We are all connected. But yeah, 1:44 this morning. So I was awake till 5:30 a.m. this morning, not being able to sleep because of Spirit downloading and, you know, coming through. And yeah, I do get frustrated, and I do get mad at them as well, because I think, really, I'm exhausted here. I'm working on my market stalls and winter time and getting stock ready, and they have you doing all sorts. This is what I talk about when they have you doing all sorts. But yeah, I'm like, really? I'm trying to watch film. But because of the film I was watching and the content it had in it, Mary Magdalene, yeah, you know, it's all connected. This is my path. My daily path is my spiritual path, you know. I don't escape it, can't escape it. Won't escape it. If I tried, would not happen. And I don't want to now. I've done the healing. I'm that phoenix rising from the ashes. I'm well and truly on it, on my path now, you know. I'm not wavering off it, not one bit now. I wouldn't be talking about it. I wouldn't be sharing my twin flame journey, what I've been on, if, you know, I was doubting this path still. No, that's the turning point for me. So I shall leave it there. Because, yeah, I mean, I could go, you know, could go on and on and on, but no, I shall leave it there. And, yeah, so I'll speak to you all soon. Oh, bye-bye. Oh, excuse me.